my feel-good breakfast show.
It's time for another edition of our Wednesday feature where we focus on the unconventional side of the law. It's called So Now What? And we're joined once again by our expert lawyer and director at legalities.co.za, Eitan Stern. Now, many people have the dream of one day being their own boss and waving goodbye to the life of being an employee. But it's also daunting to start your own small business. Some say it all starts with a great idea, but the truth is there are many legal steps between a light bulb moment and your first paying customer. Eitan, you're going to help us solve the mystery behind starting a small business.
I'm going to try. I mean, there's a lot of mystery in starting a small business.
There is. But what's the first legal step that I need to take in order to start my business and get that going?
Okay. So the first thing you should, what I like to think, is the first thing you should do when starting a new business is just do it. Take a step out and do it. It does take a little bit of guts. It takes a good idea, and it takes some idea on how you're going to put it into action. So I'm not saying you should quit your job today and just jump onto the fun employed train. But if you've got an idea and you think you can make it work, it's you know, there's plenty of opportunity in South Africa for that. They say we need 4 million jobs to be created in South Africa, or we need 1 million entrepreneurs.
Wow.
So, you know, I think everyone out there who thinks they can start a business and has an idea, first thing you should do, you should go for it.
So, I mean, you can't just go for it. Surely there's an element of registration. Do I need to register my business, or do I really just go for it?
Okay, so there's two ways in which you can start. There's two kind of entities or structures in which you can start a business. The one is called a sole proprietor, and that really is you just starting a business. You can call it whatever you want and just get running. There's no registration or anything like that. And then you've got a private company, or what we call a PTY Ltd. And that becomes its own legal entity. You become the owner of it. It can own property. It can sue. It can be sued. It can have employees. And, you know, when your business gets to a bigger stage, or when there's some factors that make it worthwhile registering, you can register it. And that might be when you get your first employee, if you've got a business partner, if your business is growing and it's proven to work, then register a company. But if you just want to start a company today or a business today and get up and running, you can totally do that. You can call it whatever you want and just get to work.
Yeah. Now, every business really at the end of the day is about making money. Let's talk about the money issue and bank accounts. Can I run it off my own existing personal bank account, or do I need to set up a specific business bank account?
Okay, so you can kind of do whatever you want because it's your business. If you wanted to keep all your money hidden under your mattress, you would be entitled to do so. Of course, it just wouldn't be a very good idea. So the advantage in separating your personal money from your company's money is that you first of all get a better understanding of your finances. So you know what money your company can spend, you know what savings you have, and you know what you can spend in your personal capacity. The other thing, it also makes tax a lot easier. It's much more tax efficient because suddenly you can work out which money is being spent where and which money is being earned where. So you could run it through your personal bank account, but it's just not a good idea in the long run. All you got to do, start a separate bank account for your business, go to any of your banks, it's very simple, start a separate bank account, and then, you know, spend your business's money from this account, and whenever you want to pay yourself, pay it into this account, and just keep the two separate, and you'll thank me in the long run for that.
You got me really excited here. So now the business is going, the bank account has been set up, I've got my first customer. What are the legalities around having that first transaction with them?
Okay, so any business is going to have a relationship with its customers. And every single business needs to think about that relationship and think about, excuse me, how that relationship is going to be managed. So it's very simple if you run a store, a shop, because we all know how it works. You walk in, you pick up the item you want, you go to the cash register, you pay, you walk out. But now, if your business isn't something as simple as that, then you need to tell your clients what you need from them. And that's often going to be two things. Firstly, it's going to be a quote of some sort, which lets them know what they have to pay you. And secondly, it's going to be some sort of client terms, which lets them know, you know, when do they have to pay? What happens if they cancel? What happens if something gets damaged during the transaction? What happens if there's rain on the day and you can't provide the service? All these sorts of things need to be worked out. So as you go along the process, it's important to start to work out your client terms, make them much clearer for your clients. And that, you know, and you will make mistakes along the process, but you just keep improving them and keep making it more and more clear to your clients what you need from them.
Well, there's clearly so much more to starting a business than having that light bulb moment. Our legal eagle, he's still here with us on our feel-good breakfast show, Expresso. More with him later on.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Our conversation with our legal eagle, Eitan Stern of legalities.co.za continues. Today we're talking about the unconventional side of the law. We're looking at starting a small business and all those legalities you need to be paying attention to. Now you've got your business running, Eitan.
Okay.
Tax, very important for any business. How do you register for tax? What do you need to do? What do you need to consider for tax purposes?
Okay. So unfortunately, tax is one of those things that everyone's going to have to pay. And, you know, whether you're an employee or running a business, you need to consider it. The way tax works for a business is that you register with SARS. So once you've got your company registered, if you're going to go the route of a company, go down to SARS, you register for tax. Then the more money you make, the more tax you're going to pay. So tax is calculated on profit. So the more profit your business has made, the more tax you're going to pay. So it's quite important to start, when you're running a business, to start to get an understanding of the accounting and how tax works. And for small businesses, SARS has some great schemes for you to be able to manage your taxes. So, you know, you can get onto small business corporation tax, which is a tax system which is meant to advantage small businesses. You can get onto this thing called turnover tax. And there are other ways to make yourself tax efficient. So if you're starting a business, you know, go book an appointment with an accountant, get an idea of how tax works. It's really, really not that complex anymore. And there's some great software that you can download, some of it for free, some of it very cheap, that you can use to run your accounting system so that you can have a very accurate idea of how your business is doing and what tax you have to pay.
Would a sole proprietor run the same principle in terms of their tax?
Okay, so pretty much, although a sole proprietor is going to be seen as the same as their business. So a sole proprietor is probably always going to be the cheapest version, the cheapest structure in which to run your business from a tax point of view. But there may be some other reasons why it's not the best way to run a business. But yeah, it would be. You know, if you're making profit, then you need to be taxed on that profit. So the idea is to make sure that all the stuff that you're spending for your business, you know, the petrol that you're spending, the rent, your salaries, the equipment that you need, you're deducting all of those things from your profit so that your taxable income is lower, but an accurate description of what you're actually earning.
So let's say I'm starting a fashion brand, Tabiso's Chinos.
I would buy it.
Yeah, I would expect you to buy it, first of all. Do I need to register it to own it, or how does it work when it comes to brand names?
Okay, so brand names, you don't need to register a brand name. So we get asked this question often, you know, I want to start a business, do I need to register the brand name? You don't need to. You can just start a business and run. The only problem with it is you might be using a brand name that someone else has registered, and if you don't register it, down the line, someone else might try to use it. So a brand name is like anything else. The more value that it's got, the more you have to protect that value. So, you know, if your brand name, if Tabiso's Chinos is you know, brand new and no one's ever heard of it, then there isn't much value. It's probably not worth registering. But a couple of months down the line, it's been on TV a bunch, people have heard about it, now it's got value. At that point, it's probably going to be worth registering it to make sure that you own it, and you register brand names in specific classes, depending on what type of product it is, and per specific countries. So you would register within clothing, within the clothing class, within South Africa, and then no one else would be able to use that brand name for their clothing label.
Okay, so now the business is doing well, it's grown, and I'm at a point where I want to get more people involved in the business. What do I need to do then?
Okay, so just like with anything, if you're starting to work with people, you need to figure out the relationship that you have with those people. Business relationships are really no different from friendships or romantic relationships. We need to have discussions about how they work. So when you're starting to bring people on, first thing is to have a discussion with them. Are they going to be an employee? Are they going to be a partner? Are they going to be paid a salary? Are they going to be paid commission? Work out all these sorts of things, and then you want to put whatever it is down onto paper. So, you know, if you're going to be hiring employees, it's important to have an employment contract. If you're going to be getting any sort of business partners, shareholders, it's crucial to have discussions with them about the terms of your shareholding relationship. You cannot just assume that everyone is on the same page. When you're getting into business with other people, you need to have the conversations explicitly, you need to have the hard conversations, and if you can't make your way through a hard conversation around that, you're probably not going to have a successful business relationship with that person. So have the conversation and then put it down on paper, and you should be good to go.
Well, I hope everyone at home has been taking some notes. Eitan Stern, thank you so much.
Only a pleasure.
Legal Eagle every single Wednesday here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. So now what? I hope that answers a lot of your questions if you're looking to start your own small business.